up to number 13. Quarterly governance report. Sean and Matt, happy to move it? Sam's happy to move it. Is Sarah's happy to second it, or question? Question? Question.
Good morning. We'll take the report as read, but we'll just, this is going to be the first of a quarterly report. We'll just make some brief comments. The primary purpose of the report is to report back to you on key governance activities and compliance with statutory obligations the Council has. A couple of key things that we'd like to highlight from the report is that there's been some good gains around efficiency and transparency. In terms of transparency, you may have noted in the report that we've gone, when we think about the opening up of the informal sessions, our information sessions and workshops, we've gone from the same quarter last year of none of them happening in public to 78%, so that's in line with the recommendations from the Ombudsman's report last year. Another key one too is that around efficiency, with changes to reporting templates and the way information is structured for you, we've seen a reduction in the need or the volume of reports, the actions that come from meetings. And a good metric that backs that up is the fact that we've had far fewer reports that are left to lie on the table and can be resolved at the point of consideration. So those are good results, we think, for the Council. I'll hand over to Sean with some comments.
Thank you. One of our key drivers and ongoing is to increase transparency wherever we can, and we continue to look for opportunities to do that, and it's also a key focus this year. Just one, I suppose, highlight from us is the continued increase in Legoima requests. This continues to grow, and this is a workload shared across the organisation, not just the official information team. We have grown from about 1,000 requests 2 years ago. We're tracking for about 1,500 requests this year, but we have dropped our response time down from 13 days to about 8.6 days year to date. That was your key info I wanted to get across.
And my last point is the data that's extrapolated from our Info Council system actually points to the Council being a statutory compliant, effective and efficient governance and decision making body, and the facts back that up.
As this is the first report too, we're very happy to answer any questions and take any feedback in terms of future reports as to information you'd like to see or see different.
We've got 3 questions. Sarah, then Mel, then Yanni.
Thanks so much. Really cool to see this report. I like the information that's in it. It's really useful. So I don't want to detract from that by asking, stuff that's not there. But on the 5th of November, the Office of the Auditor General, so rather than the Ombudsman's Office, there was a report tabled in Parliament that looked at Council's response to climate change, and the governance was one section that they expressed some concern about when it came to Christchurch City Council. And I'm just wondering if some sort of response is going to be put together on that at some point. Just what happens to that report, and how do we address the concerns that are raised within it?
Councillor Templeton, that's probably outside the scope of this report, and I'd probably need to get some advice on that and get back to you.
Yeah, thanks.
So it's just arrived and it's being reviewed, and we are going to look at it at the ELT level as well. So
sorry, I can't hear.
Sorry. That report, I think it arrived about a fortnight ago.
Yeah, 5th of November.
It's gone to the relevant units to look at it, and it's going to be actually looked at ELT too. And it may be something we either address this triennial or suggest for the new triennial.
Yeah, there should be, but there's things even within the current structure that can be enhanced, even if we didn't change structures.
Yes, one of the governance focuses the fact that we have a portfolio lead as opposed to a committee, I think was one of the debates that we've discussed.
Yeah, I thought I thought it'd been mentioned a few months ago that we were going to relook that, but but there are other ways I think it says that we could potentially enhance within the current structure. So, yeah.
Mel?
That table with the metrics, does that include all meetings, like community board meetings and council meetings? Is that all?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Right. And I was just, I don't know if we've just covered this or not, but the 2% that aren't compliant with legislation and process standards, like what sorts of things would make them not compliant?
Well, the non-compliance is relating more to process standards than legislation. So a key point is that in terms of the legislative targets, that we are 100% compliant. The types of things that are not meeting all the process requirements are around the objective of council, for example, to publish all meeting minutes within a couple of working days after the meeting. It's that sort
So
of
it's
thing.
technical stuff like that. Okay. And then the last one, I mean, we saw the other day there's been a huge number of just requests to council in general, as well as Lagoinas. Have you got a feel for, from all the ones that are coming in, like why there's this huge increase happening over the last year or two?
I think it's a general increase in knowledge and expectation from residents and beyond. I mean, we get a lot of requests from all sorts. I mean, there are some consistencies in the type of information we're being requested, but we get an awful lot of requests for specific sites, depending on the activity they're in. So a lot more information is being requested these days.
So would you say that that means possibly that the people are more interested in what council's doing and more sort of, we're engaging with them more, which means that there's a flow on of more questions?
I think to a degree, and people are becoming a lot more aware. They can request this information and you know, 99, well, I don't have the exact stats, but the vast majority of the time they'll get it, yeah, on request.
Okay, thanks you, Melanie. Yanni?
Thanks. Thanks for the report. Really good to get it. I was wondering if there was any reflection on, obviously there were concerns when we made the decision to open up the briefings, and is there any reflection on if any of those concerns have become apparent, or, you know, in hindsight, was it something that's worked really well?
Do you mean sort of opening like workshops and holding them in public?
Yeah.
I mean, now it's brought a lot more sort of process to it, so we actually put a lens over it a bit more formally. So if something does need to be discussed in a public excluded session, it's a bit more robust around that. And no, I think generally they're running well. People are starting to follow them a bit more and sort of get a better understanding of how things are developed. Yeah.
Do you have a sense of, and sorry, there's lots of information in the report and I may have missed it, but do you have a sense of how many deputations or people are attending meetings, both of council and community board, or briefings, or sorry, information sessions?
Not that I can give a response to today, but if that's useful, we can include that in future reporting.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Catching up with myself. Mark, please.
Thank you. I'm just looking at on section 4.2, actions. There's a table there, and it shows actions coming out of community board meetings. And I'm just wondering if there's a correlation there with the fact that we can no longer raise actions out of our information exchange at our meetings. We used to be able to do that as community board members, but we can no longer do that. We've been instructed not to. So just wondering if there's any correlation there with the numbers being significantly different year on year.
What I can comment on that is that it makes up part of the reason, but the number that was raised via the elected members information exchange section was approximately about 8% of the overall total, so it's not the full amount. It's a part of it, but not the full amount.
Right. Yep. And I guess you may not have the answer to this, but as that actions raised from meetings decreased, has there been a corresponding increase in the customer service requests to sort of offset that? I'm thinking there probably would be.
I don't have that information. We can need to check.
We would have to get back to you on that information.
Yep, that would be an interesting analysis.
And Andre.
Thank you. You've got the average days to respond for Leguimas. Do you collect, apologies if I've missed this, do you collect that for elected member requests?
We keep sort of general KPIs. I don't have them with me today.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but we can sort of run, not to that level of detail, but certainly, you know, approximately.
Cool, thank you. And just one other question. Things like public forums, deputations, so on and so forth. Does any data get collected on which percentage of them might be people who have come to us for the first time? I wonder if this is something that has been collected before, but also for long-term plan, hearing, oral submissions, this kind of thing.
No, we don't collect that.
I wonder if there would be interest in doing so. To me, that would be a pretty good thing to know. For example, if the average long-term plan hearings we hear from 100 or 200 people, and we know what percentage were here the last year, to me, that's certainly the kind of thing I would like to know. Maybe others would, maybe they wouldn't.
So I don't know whether we would have the capacity to set up a whole system, because we'd need to ask every person and every submission, and you'll know that for annual plans and LTPs, there's hundreds and hundreds of people. We'd have to ask them if they're a first-time submitter, or else set up a database.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So what are you trying to
Well,
get from that?
if we
information?
only hear from the same people over and over again, we've got a problem. Is sort of where I'm going with this. We do need to hear from more people, and if they come to speak to us once, don't want to come speak to us again, it would be good to know why that is. Did we scare them off? Did they not feel comfortable?
Did we solve the problem?
Well, yeah, were we able to solve their problem? I guess my question is what we have captured thus far, and if we're not capturing anything, and there's no interest in capturing anything
Well,
along those lines,
one at a
that's
time,
all.
Andre, keep
then
going,
that's
mate.
all good too. Yeah.
So look at that. Okay, so Celeste, what's next?
No interest? All good.
Oh yeah, I think I'm supportive of that in principle, bearing in mind that it would have to be done in a sensible way. And I just had a question whether that could be done when we book people in, is just a question.
Next, all good. Tara? Then we'll get on.
Just looking at 3.8 in the table there, I mean, on one level it's great to be the champ consistently, and the hardest working councillor obviously, but or is it just that am I the most litigious? Like, I mean, is there more things going on in Banks Peninsula, or am I just asking like too many petty questions?
Just stay home and don't talk about it.
What can we, is there
Permission
something that
not
we
to
can do?
answer that question.
No, I mean, all seriousness though, is there perhaps some work I could do with the OCE to perhaps reduce the volume of questions?
Potentially, we're always happy to work with councillors to best suit their needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, thanks, Sean. The champ.
Councillor Fields, I think your predecessor was also quite high in the question stakes.
Which implies that Banks Peninsula has...
But it's no reflection on the amount of work that's getting done over there, which is rather a lot. So are you seconding it, Aaron? Okay, good. And you've got a question?
Yeah, just on your Leguimas, I see that we answered more than we requested. So do we preempt some?
That'll be open requests from the previous month or so.
So they'll roll over.
It's always a bit of a rolling.
Okay.
All that one.
And then the other one is, because I just got a text from Tina before, who makes the most requests per year?
I'm sure I can't divulge that.
Okay, just checking.
I think that's already been answered, Aaron.
Okay, thank you.
I see Leguimas, you mean.
We have a mover and seconder, so I'll put that... Oh, sorry, debate. This is really debate. Forgot about that. No. Right, I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you, that's carried. So now we're down to Alec, resource recovery, number 14.